Hi, welcome to this Die Designer video tutorial. Today we will be looking at material blanking tonnage. So if you go up to the development menu, click it, scroll down to material blanking tonnage or TO from the command line, that will bring up your material tonnage dialog box. To quickly run you through that, we have our material types. So based on the material type you select, our tensile strength will change. If the material that you're using for say a quoting strip layout like this is not listed, you can click Add New. Enter the name. The technical name is always a good name to use for material name. Enter the tensile strength in pounds per square inch and the specific gravity in pounds per inch cubed. If the specs you're getting for the material you're using are in metric, you will have to do a conversion for the tensile strength and the specific gravity. That being said, if you're doing a metric design, even though these parameters, when you add this to the database, are all in an inch English type format, if the design is in metric, the program itself for calculation purposes will convert the inch to a metric like kilonewtons or something, whatever it is. So anyways, I'm not going to add a new material. I just wanted to show you. You can also delete your selected. Say you just added a new material, you had a typo, select it, delete it, and then re-add it a second time. Over in our material properties, we have our tensile strength. That's the big one. Okay, so based on the material selected, you'll see this tensile strength changes. And then we have below that, we have our shear strength. Now I have a shear strength percentage, and I have a note here. Note, shear strength equals 80% of the tensile strength as a baseline. And that's really what I use. If you know exactly what your shear strength is, you can enter it. Like it varies depending on 10% punch and die clearance versus 5% punch and die clearance, but 80% is a nice baseline. If you know specifically what yours is, certainly add that or change that. For the material parameters, we have our stock thickness, our progression multiple, and our stock width. These have been preloaded when I called the dialog box up, and the reason they were preloaded was because, and let me close this out real quick, is because if you go over here to the settings menu, earlier in this quoting strip layout design, I entered a progression multiple once I had determined it, the stock width, and certainly I knew from the part itself what the material thickness was. So those were all clicked, prompts you enter it, and so when you come up to the material tonnage dialog box, if those are entered, it will populate. If not, you will have to enter those in these dialog box, in these edit boxes, before the calculation can continue. The next thing is we have select all cuts and holes. That's after all this is filled in and properly selected, then you select all cuts and holes. You'll notice the OK is grayed out because there's nothing to do yet until it has some cut and hole data to work with. So I do have another procedure I need to show you about this. So I'm going to exit out of here and try to explain this well. If you notice, this punch in station 5 and this punch in station 7 are healed. Well, the heel portion is not cutting anything in either of these two punches, so we do not want to use that in our tonnage calculation. So what I usually do is I take this, copy it over somewhere where I can erase it as soon as I'm done with it. Okay. I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to freeze the the whole center lines just to turn that layer off. And I am going to trim these punches. Okay, make sure they're still connected, which they are. So now I can go back to material blanking and tonnage, TO from the command line. I am going to use this cold rolled steel 1018. I am going to select all the cuts in the holes. So I'll select this guy, I'll select this little window cut, select these holes, including the perf hole, and then hit return or enter when you're done. You'll see the OK button is now enabled. Click OK. Now I'm going to come over here. You'll see down at the command line, pick a point to place the blanking force chart. I am going to put this right next to the material utilization chart. And yeah, it spits it out. You'll see the total blanking force is just over 34 tons. The stripping force is 6,800 pounds. The calculation used is 10% of the cutting force, so it's a general ballpark, but certainly gives you a little information if you're putting, for your die springs, nitrogen springs, whatever you're using in the design. Some of the parameters, the perimeter in this case, 21.5 inches, our material thickness, our tensile strength constant, and then that shear strength, which is 80% of the tensile strength. So yeah, certainly then I would erase that because I just used it to, like I said, to trim out those healed areas of the punches. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.